Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next installment of the Trent Advantage webinar series. My name is Zach Davidson, and I'll be your host this evening. Tonight's topic is going to be on one of my favorite webinar topics, study abroad. And joining me this evening to discuss all the study, who is our study abroad advisor.
Well, thank you, and I'm very excited to be here tonight.
No, I'm excited to be able to get diving right into all the opportunities that these students have access to. So throughout the webinar, I'm going to be asking Kate a series of questions about study abroad. How to gain access to it, the types of places you can go, what you can do with it, and then after that, we'll be answering all of your questions that you have for Kate. So please feel free throughout the webinar to be asking your questions. You just type them into the chat box, click enter, and then we'll be able to answer them as they come in. So with that, we're going to get this show on the road.
That sounds good.
All right, awesome. As the title lends itself, this is called the Trent Advantage webinar series.
Mm-hmm.
So then what is the advantage of Trent's study abroad program?
So many advantages for students to be able to include a study abroad as part of your degree while you're here at Trent. We find that students that go on a study abroad, it really enhances their education when they return to Trent University, gives them a greater breadth of what they are learning, and also opens their eyes to a new concept of maybe how something is taught, how their academics may be taught somewhere else, and also an experience to a whole new culture. That's huge. And also nowadays, employers are looking to see, other than education, what opportunities have you included as part of your degree while you're here at Trent University? And one of them is study abroad, because there's so many skill sets that students can learn while they're abroad that you just can't teach.
Definitely. So really what it comes down to, it's about, maximizing your potential and your opportunities while you're at Trent.
And at Trent, you can do that starting in year one.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. Okay, so looking at study abroad, what exactly is it? And what are the different study abroad options at Trent?
Oh, there's many options at Trent University. Like I mentioned earlier, the opportunity to start in year one. After you've completed year one, you may want to do a summer exploration. Maybe go on a summer expedition with an academic department. For example, with our anthropology department with Dr. Helen Haynes, she goes to Belize every year to do a 6-week dig in Belize. And you can do that after year one. And to be able to spend 6 weeks in Belize, do an anthropology dig, and receive a full credit for it. Or you may want to decide to go to another country to learn a language and to be immersed in a culture. And then there's the type of agreements where we have year abroad agreements, where if you are a specific major with French, and you're doing a French major or a French minor, or you're with IDS, you may want to go on what's called a departmental year abroad.
Okay.
A departmental year abroad is basically taking your class in year 3 and being positioned in a new country.
Okay.
So maybe relocating in France, where we have a year abroad program with the University of Nantes, or if you're an IDS major, you may want to go to Ghana. And the courses are Trent-owned courses, but they're taught elsewhere.
Okay.
So students pay their normal Trent fees to Trent University. You go as a group, you're taught Trent courses, and you pay Trent fees. So that's called a departmental year abroad, done in your 3rd year.
Okay.
Another type of study abroad that students can partake in is called an exchange. And that's what our department is mostly responsible for.
Right.
Students usually go typically in their 3rd year, but students can also go in their 2nd year if they're a transfer in student.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or have had a ton of international experience in the past and want to get going.
Yeah.
So they can go in their 3rd year of a 4th year honors degree.
Okay.
We have partners all over the world, over 35 countries and over 50 university partners. And what that means is we send students and receive students from those institutions. Any major can go to any of those institutions as long as the host partner offers the courses that they want to take.
Makes sense.
And they pay their normal Trent tuition fees. So they're not subjected to international fees. So that really keeps the cost savings down.
Definitely.
So as long as they pass all the courses they're abroad, their courses are all transferred back to their Trent degree. So they're adding no life to their degree.
Okay.
And students can do that either for a term or for an academic year. Now, a lot of students may not feel that I can't take out a year. It's just too long for me.
Mhm.
We also offer summer opportunities.
Okay.
Every year, you can go from year 1 to year 4. And you can go either on an independent study abroad, where you're going with another institution, or you can go through Trent University. And that's called a letter of permission.
Okay.
A letter of permission is a little bit different than our exchange agreements. The difference between the two is you take a leave of absence from Trent University financially, and you pay your fees to the host institution. That's when we don't have partnerships. So that could be a little bit more onerous on the student to be able to plan those out themselves and not having to pay international fees. It could be a little bit more costly. And the other type of study abroad that we do offer at Trent University is field practicum placements. So if you're a nursing student, for example, you can go on the Friends of Honduras expedition that is offered every year by the nursing department, typically in year 3. Students can either go in the fall of their reading break for 10 days or in the winter time of the reading break for 10 days to Honduras, where they bring they go with the medical brigade, and they bring, go to 4 or 5 different villages to bring health and wellness to the villages. And they get credit for that as well. So it's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, Professor Chris Metcalf every year takes a group of students going to Barbados in the fall with his online course that students take throughout the fall. And then in the fall reading break, they'll go to Honduras and have hands-on practicum placement in a field environment with their peers and mentors. So that's huge. And the nice thing about Trent is we're still small enough where we can customize a program for a student. So if a student came to us right in year 1 and said, I'm really interested in this, we can help develop it. If we have time and if we have the capabilities, we're able to do that. And that's the exciting part. That's what I love the best, when a student comes in and they're full of energy and they want to say, okay, I'm really excited about this. And they can build on it. They can even do something every year while they're here at Trent University.
Really? Hey, wow, that sounds so exciting. And it really sounds like, just, boiling it all down, it's like study abroad at Trent, flexible.
Yes.
There's so many different ways and options to kind of do it, so you can really kind of fit it in to your degree the way that you want to.
The best advice I can give to students is plan. Start early, plan out what you want to do, and ask a lot of questions and do your research. And to remember that at Trent University, you're not a number, you're a person. And that's what I like. You can be able to come in and talk to someone and customize a program. Yeah,
I like that you're not trying to shut any doors. And if you want to come up with a unique opportunity that only kind of you have thought of, you want to support that.
That's right.
Perfect.
We really try anyways. We try our best.
That's great. So I see this kind of next question as I guess a mom and dad or a parent question. What's the value of study abroad? In today's world, very competitive workforce. So how is this study abroad going to give me a leg up when it comes time to looking for that first career or that first job at a university?
Well, not only as a parent, and that's a good inquiry, it should be actually the students who are worrying about that.
For sure.
Because the market is very competitive. And to have that extra component on your resume is huge, but not even only for the employer, just for yourself and your own personal growth. To be able to see courses being taught in a different format, to be able to get to know people from another culture. You're not a visitor like a tourist. You're really being immersed in the culture. You're there for either 3 months or 6 months or even up to a year. This gives you an opportunity to be really immersed in the culture. And I think that really opens up our perspective to be able to think more broader, to basically open our lens and to be more aware of what's going on in the world, and to be able to bring all those skills back to your resume to show your employer. I think that's huge. And then you never know where it's going to lead you. You never know what doors that's going to open up for you. To be able to take a course with Professor Chris Metcalf and to be able to study it online, but then to be able to go and do a field practicum with your peers and mentors. You never know who's going to be in that group could want to say, oh, have you ever considered doing a research or maybe doing your master's here with us? I'm looking for an intern. That might not even ever occur to you until you take that chance.
So it's just kind of really then exposing you to so many different things within your university experience.
That's right, being open to opportunities.
Yeah, okay, awesome. All right, so looking at kind of the next point here, Trent obviously has a lot of really great opportunities and partnerships with universities all around the world. And we're actually going to show some of the pictures of these opportunities. Some of the opportunities that these students had at different countries.
So the pictures, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But the pictures that we're showing you right now, these are from photos from students who went on study abroad in 2017-18. Every year we offer a study abroad photo contest.
Okay.
And this is our way to highlight what students are doing. And to be able to say to the Trent community, look what you can be doing. So these are actual photos that our Trent students have taken, and all our promotional materials that we use now are all from our photo contest. And it's just like the pictures, I think, say everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Picture speaks 1,000 words,
That's
right?
right.
So where are these, where are these, some of these countries that our students are going to? Are there, any in particular that are really popular?
Oh, definitely. Like our top destination is the UK.
Okay.
We have a ton of our students going to the UK. I think a lot of students are wanting to go to the UK, Scotland, England, Wales, because either they have family heritage and they want to go back, or they feel, oh, it's very similar to Canadian culture.
Definitely.
And it's kind of, maybe this is my first time abroad, this is an easy step. So the UK definitely, I think, is our #1 destination for our students. Next, I would say Australia. Is a huge place for our students to be able to go to, especially in our winters.
Yeah.
They'll head out in February and spend February to June in Australia. Europe is coming in really close, going to France, Germany, Spain. Those are huge destinations as well. I think as students, I find the students who are more adventurous and going to maybe cultures that maybe English is not their first language, are students who maybe had past experience of travel, or have done that building blocks of being able to maybe start small in year 1, maybe take a 6-week program abroad, and then just get comfortable with traveling to be able to include, or if they're going as a group, we have multiple students to be able to do that.
Oh, really? So you have like a couple students that will get together and be like, hey, let's all go to this country.
Definitely. That's a nice thing also of having partnerships. We can negotiate with our partners. For example, this year alone, we're sending 7 students to Leeds University in the UK, and we're sending 8 students to University of Kent. Most of them in our forensics department.
Okay.
And they're going as a group.
That's so awesome. I didn't realize that you could do that.
Yep.
So now, if let's say I'm a student and I'm looking through your list of countries that you have partnership universities with, and I find that there's a country that's not on that list.
Yes.
Am I not allowed to go there, or like how does that work?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, that's called a letter of permission. When we don't have a partnership with the university, that is on our list, and those are called bilateral exchange agreements.
Okay.
So if we don't have an agreement with the university, I always recommend students come in as soon as possible, because you never know, we may be able to establish agreement. We're really concentrating on how we develop our partners. We just don't go out and sign up 1 million partners.
Right.
We want to have really specific partnerships where we know students want to go to, so we can build those relationships. But if a student comes in to say, you know what, I would really, really like to go to X country, you don't have a partnership. If they come in early in year 1, we can see if that is a compatible university.
Okay.
Would this be a good fit for Trent University? Would it have a long-term, or could we build a long-term relationship with them? And if we can, we'll try to establish a relationship and a partnership. But if we can't, if it's just like, no, this is very specific for the student and their needs, then that's what's called a letter of permission.
Okay.
That's when they take a financial leave from Trent University.
Right.
And they pay their fees directly to the host institution.
Okay.
So they may be subjected to international fees.
Right.
So they would pay the fees directly to them, but then they're still on an academic study abroad.
Right.
So their courses will transfer back to Trent University.
Which is, I guess, the really important part, right? Because you're not
Huge.
postponing your education.
That's right, and I think that's a big component for parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're just going to take a year off and we're going to pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 and you're not going to receive transfer credits and you're going to add another year to your life at Trent, that may not be suitable.
Right. Definitely.
But that some students it is very more appealing to them, especially international students.
Yeah.
If international students want to maybe return home to their home country, if we don't have a partnership of where their home country is, that's a real big draw for students who are international students.
Interesting.
Yep, and so I really like to say to students, once again, and I said it before, the best thing is plan early.
Right.
Because if you plan early, there's a lot more that we can do.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. Okay, so now we've talked about the opportunities. So then I guess my next thought or question would be how does somebody then take advantage of these opportunities? Are there certain requirements that they need to meet, like whether that be academic, non-academic?
Definitely. Well, I always recommend students, to be eligible for a study abroad, first of all, you have to have a 70% cumulative average.
Okay.
So your goal, no matter if you're going to study abroad or stay at Trent, you want to be academically successful.
Right.
So that's your key component. Then if you're thinking of a study abroad, start talking to people about it. Come into the international office, meet with the study abroad advisor. Also join maybe an international group. So then you can start meeting international students.
Okay.
We have a great ambassador program. Maybe you want to be matched up with somebody who's here from one of our partner universities to learn more about their country. Come to some of our events that we have. We have a fabulous lunch and learn series that we offer weekly, where we bring prospective students to learn more about studying abroad, and we invite our inbound students and our returning students to talk about their experience, so students can learn more. Because Trent is a very diverse university in itself. You can be really exposed to multiple cultures. We have over 110 countries represented alone here at Trent University. So just that alone, you can be exposed. I think the best thing is just getting out there.
Mm-hmm.
And asking those questions and finding out, where's the study abroad office? How do I learn more about it?
Just simple as that.
That is pretty easy, actually.
And then for study abroad, is this something that's available for like both of the campuses? Like if I'm at the Durham campus, can I still go abroad?
Of course,
Okay.
yes, definitely. We have multiple students go every year from our Durham campus, and we encourage our students that are in our Durham campus to go and study abroad. It's just getting the information to them.
Yeah.
That's I think the difficult, making sure that we're providing all the resources and materials so they can have access to it.
Definitely.
And they just have to get onto our website.
Okay, great. So now, if students want to go to study abroad, are they required to be in a certain program? Like I know you talked about like anthropology and nursing. Do they have to be in one of those programs to go abroad, or can you be in anything and go?
Yep. We service undergraduate students.
Okay.
So any undergraduate student can include a study abroad as part of their degree.
Okay.
But it may not be the typical study abroad in your third year.
Mm-hmm.
It may be if you're in the social work program. The social work program is very tight. So they can't maybe do a term or an academic year, but they can go in the summertime.
Yeah.
They can do a summer experience, maybe learn a new language, or develop, enhance a second language that they're already learning. They may be able to take a history or a culture course somewhere in the summertime.
Okay.
Our forensics majors, they're limited in where they can go, but we have 3 universities where they can go in their third year and take transfer credits directly back to their Trent degree into their forensics program. Our nursing program, they can do the 4th year alt-prac abroad, but also they can go on the Friends of Honduras.
Okay.
So yes, there's some programs, especially in our professional programs, that it is the stream is more controlled,
Right.
because they have to have specific courses year to year to move forward. But there are ways that we can help support that, either through expeditions of going to Honduras, or maybe including a summer option.
Okay, awesome. And then now I know you kind of already alluded to that, but are there any like specific study abroad options that we haven't mentioned already? Like I know that we talked about like the nursing one and the anthropology, but are there any others out there that we don't know?
Well, I think our education students.
Okay.
I have a lot of education students will come into me, oh, I can't go on a study abroad. Why can't you go on a study abroad? Well, my program won't allow me. And actually, that's the opposite. The education department, they want their students to go on a study abroad.
Okay.
They'll even customize their third year practical placement for students to be able to support a study abroad. And it sounds almost crazy. If you're becoming a teacher, why not have that experience of going and studying abroad?
Yeah,
And maybe
for sure.
do volunteer experience while you're abroad. Maybe teach in a classroom in another country. And you maybe even if you plan it properly ahead of time, receive credit for that.
For sure, yeah.
Or even if you volunteer, that looks great on your resume.
Mhm.
And you never know, once again, making those networks where that may lead you after you graduate from Trent University. You might just decide, you know what, I made great connections when I was in London or while I was in China or while I was in India. Maybe I'm going to apply for places to be able to teach English while I'm for a year or two.
Definitely. And I know
It's
there's
huge.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like students that do graduate from our stream program, from
Mhm.
the teacher program, that want to do that, right? They
That's
want to
right.
be able to go for a year or 2 years to study, to teach abroad. So it makes sense to kind of already get those connections while you're at the university.
And the other major that I feel that aren't taking the opportunity to study abroad and should be studying abroad are our business majors,
Oh, yeah.
especially our business majors who are taking international marketing,
Mm-hmm.
international promoting and development. It's just like, well, if you're taking courses here that have an international component, why aren't you going abroad?
Yeah, for sure.
Or if I'm taking Mandarin, why wouldn't I go to China for a summer?
Right.
Or if I'm interested in German, why wouldn't you take that to the next level and go spend a summer or a term and be immersed in the culture to develop that? Because the best thing is if you're hearing it, being involved in the day-to-day, you're going to learn it a lot faster.
Well, and then like I always think about it too, like when else are you going to have that opportunity?
That's right.
This is what university is all about. It's about getting exposed to new things and new
Mhm.
ideas and taking those chances and trying something new. So, you know, if it's there and it's an easy opportunity, then yeah, do it.
And it's so exciting when students go abroad and when they come back, it's a different person.
Oh, for sure.
I just love seeing those students when they come back. Their growth, their confidence is huge, and also what they bring back to the classroom.
Mm.
They can bring a whole new insight of how things were taught somewhere else, or just having a different perspective to bring into the classroom. And professors encourage that.
Definitely. This is just out of my own interest. So like, would you find then like a student that's coming back who has done a study abroad, are they more of a capable or competent student?
Oh, definitely. Because just to even applying and all the steps, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like students have to meet deadlines, and they're students not only of Trent University, but at the host institution. So they're juggling two responsibilities.
Right.
They're figuring out their transfer credits, their immigration, finances. There's a lot that they have to do.
Just time management alone, they become experts
to figure that out.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have great resources in our office,
Mhm.
and we have a Blackboard course that is all dedicated for our students who are going on to study abroad. As soon as they are accepted, we enroll them in the course to help them with the day-to-day of how to get ready while you're there, when you come back. But basically, it's up to the students to figure it out and to be able to be resourceful,
Mhm, for sure.
organized, and all those skills. They're soft skills that they don't think they mean anything. So when they come back and I said, did you put that on your resume that you went out to study abroad? And they'll say, well, why? Well, because when employers see that, they realize you have to do your time management.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to be organized.
You can think it, but like that's something
That's
that you
right.
had to do
A
every
lot of
day.
students, and we pull in the careers office to come in to talk to our students. We have our pre-departure
Mhm.
for our students, but we also have a re-entry. So when our students come back, we debrief, we talk about their experience, but then we also talk about, okay, these are the skills that you learned while you're abroad.
Mhm.
How can we put them and apply them back to your academics here at Trent, but also professional moving forward?
Right.
And that's where we tap into a lot of our resources here at Trent to help those students to get to the next level.
Excellent. So yeah, talking about that kind of like that coming back stage and then the debrief and what are they gaining once they get back here? How do the courses that they take abroad tie into their Trent degree? Are they something that they're going to be able to receive a credit for? How does that work?
All the universities that we have agreements with, they're all university level. So
Okay.
they're all accredited, all credentialed.
Okay.
So as long as students pass their courses, they are going to receive credit.
Okay.
So it depends, would it be towards my major,
Mhm.
my joint major, my minor, or will it be one of my electives?
Gotcha.
We plan that all out before students go on a study abroad.
So they already have an idea.
They already have an idea.
Okay.
They meet with their academic advisors to do a study plan to find out, okay, what do I still need to meet my degree requirements? And then we fit in a study abroad
Okay.
to see how, okay, what do you have to take while you're abroad to keep you on track? Do you have to take courses of your major? And if so, these are the universities. We'll give them a list. So if I'm a biology major and I know I have to take biology courses, we'll steer the student towards universities that offer biology.
Right. Okay.
And it helps them narrow down their focus. But if a student comes in to say, I plan my year 1 and year 2, and I have all electives left for my 3rd year, and I can go anywhere. Wow, that's like a smorgasbord. Well, we can go anywhere. As long as they pass, they still get their electives all coming back. So they're not adding any life to their degree.
Good.
So that's huge. And their courses come back as a pass-fail onto their Trent transcript. But if they're on a scholarship, academic scholarship, we provide a numeric grading for their scholarship purposes.
Oh, good.
So they can get it renewed in their 4th year. And also when they apply to grad school, they submit 2 transcripts, one of Trent University to show that, yes, they went on a study abroad, but where? And then a transcript of the host institution. And the grad school then does the grade translations.
Oh, that's good. Because that would be a big kind of concern, right? Like, is that still going to allow me to get into graduate school?
Definitely. So before students go on a study abroad, we provide a grade conversion chart.
Okay.
So if they're studying in Europe or Australia or the States or the UK, they know what grade they must, if they want to maintain an 80% transfer credit, they need to know what grade they need to maintain while they're on a study abroad.
Right. So it's not just about, as long as I pass, I'm fine.
No.
They'll still have all that information to see.
I find students who go on a study abroad, I keep track of how students do academically, and we find students either maintain the grades that they normally would do here at Trent, or they even improve because they put that extra effort into it.
Okay.
And so I find that's very rare does a student do poorly while they're abroad.
Good.
Because it's an academic study abroad.
Yeah, definitely.
And I find students, as long as they're putting in the effort, like they do here at Trent, they're going to maintain their grades.
Good. And it sounds like you've kind of already answered this, but the credits that they're getting kind of brought back and transferred back to Trent, that's going to still allow them to end up with a degree from the university from Trent.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, good.
Yes, okay. As long as they plan it and as long as they pass their courses while they're abroad.
Right. Okay. Perfect. Lots of students have questions about how they can afford to pay for study abroad. Talked about that. There's that opportunity to still pay the domestic fees. Are there other expenses that they'll have to incur while they're abroad?
Yes, that's probably number 2 of the obstacles when I ask students who, we do a survey every year of students who have come in, they've asked about a study abroad, but they didn't submit an application. So we'll send out a survey to find out, okay, why didn't you include a study abroad? Academic concerns is number 1. So what we've tried to do to minimize that concern is to do a lot of pre-approvals so students understand the academic component. But the next one is finances. And we understand that finances is a huge obstacle. But I think a lot of students think it's a lot more expensive than what it really is.
Okay.
So typically on a study abroad, I always say to students, whatever you normally pay in your first year, if you're living in residence, then include that and then add $5,000. Your $5,000 will be your flight, your insurance, and your spending money. So yes, it's an additional $5,000, but it's attainable. And how students can do that is start planning ahead, start saving for it. If you're on OSAP, as long as you're paying your fees to Trent, you're still eligible for your OSAP.
Oh, okay.
So you don't lose your OSAP funding. If you're on a Trent scholarship, academic scholarship, as long as you're maintaining your scholarship requirements, you'll still receive your academic scholarship. But also Trent University has an amazing study abroad bursary program. We've been working on this for the last 15 years and developing ties with donors, alumni, our Trent community, building the funding out for students to be able to support a study abroad. And this year, for 2018-19, we were able to give out over $100,000 to support students on a study abroad because we know that finances are a huge barrier for students. And students ranged from anywhere from $250 for a summer experience up to $3,000 to support their study abroad, all supported by our donors. So that's huge.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And they can tie into their existing scholarships that they have here, and also their OSAP.
Definitely. So every little bit counts, and when
It
you kind
does.
of add it all up together, I mean, that is a significant amount of your abroad experience paid for. Great. So yeah, sounds like there's some really great opportunities for students. Are there any like specific stories or recent stories that you have where students have studied abroad, or what their experiences were while they studied abroad?
Oh, we so many great stories over the years. I've been at Trent in the international office now for 18 years, and I've heard so many exciting stories from students that never thought they would go even outside of Ontario, might not even had a passport, to then travel abroad and then had a career internationally. And so students coming back 10, 15 years later to say, hi, Kate, do you remember me? And they maybe have gone to Iceland, and then now they're working in Australia. Those are exciting opportunities. One student, he was absolutely remarkable. He had no money, and he really wanted to go on a study abroad. And he said, Kate, how can I make this happen? And I said, well, if you really want to go abroad, you can make it happen. Said he wanted to go to Iceland, and that's before their economy went bust, and it was so expensive to go to Iceland. So for him to get to Iceland, he made connections to be able to take a ship and be a deckhand. And he got to travel for free as a deckhand. He was on the ship now for 6 weeks, but he was able to take all his supplies as much as he wanted.
Yeah.
And he helped as a hand crew while on the ship to cover his passage. And then when he got there, he had no money for residence. So then he went around to all the warehouses to find out if anybody needed a night guard. And then he found a place that he was able to have room and board to be there every night to watch over the yard.
Wow.
So that's somebody who really wanted to go abroad, didn't have the money, but he made it happen.
That's amazing.
And it just inspired him to do so much more. So those are the things that I find for students. If you really want it, you can make it happen. But the nice thing is you have the support here. Yeah. We can make those possibilities through connections. Mm-hmm. And through our Trent staff, but our Trent faculty. Our faculty they have so many connections internationally because many of them have studied their PhDs and their masters abroad.
Well, and they're probably doing, research with other professors at different universities.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, they're kind of like a good starting point for a lot of them.
So tapping into those resources, and a lot of students don't think of that.
Yeah.
And I always say to the students, if you're thinking of study abroad, go talk to your faculty because they may have connections for you.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. And then last but not least, we're just looking at if students have any further questions, who do they reach out to? Who is their contact?
Yep. Well, that would be the study abroad office.
Okay.
And over the summertime, we're open all summer, so that would be myself. Okay. But they can contact me directly.
Great.
Or they can contact the study abroad office.
Okay.
And through our website or email, they can phone us. Or if they're here doing a site visit, we really encourage them to come in and pop in and see us. We'd love to sit down and to chat. We have somebody that's going to be here all summer long.
Okay.
We have staff that are going to be in the office from Monday to Friday that students can take a head jump in. If they're around, they can come in and see us. Or if they just even have some questions by email, we can help them out. Okay. But if that's not possible, then I would recommend students, as soon as you get here for your first week, after you've been here for a couple of days and get settled, come in and see us.
Yeah.
We're going to be at clubs and groups. We're going to have a table. Okay. And then we encourage all students to come in and start chatting with us.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I guess the email for that would just be studyabroad@trentu.ca?
Exactly.
Okay. And
or Kate Logan at trentu.ca.
Okay. And then for the website, would it be just trentu.ca/studyabroad?
Exactly.
Perfect.
Easy.
Right on. Okay, so it looks like that.
Nice.
So now we're going to turn it over to the audience and see what questions that they have, okay? So we'll just get things started here. So the first question, how does living how does living work when you're in another country? How do you find employment while you're living in another country?
Is it living
Or-
where they're going to live?
Yeah, yeah. Where do they live?
That's
There we
We
go.
encourage all our students to live in residence at our host institution.
Okay.
We find that is a lot easier for our students. So we would, as soon as students are accepted, the study abroad advisor at our host institution,
Mhm.
that's when they will help support our students getting their courses registered,
Okay.
helping with them with the transition of going to the institution, but then giving them information about housing.
Okay.
And because the students, if they're only going to be there for one term or even 8 months, it's so hard to be able to live off campus. Accommodations in residence is the safest bet, safest, easiest way to go.
Yeah, definitely.
And what we always recommend students for when you're planning to live in residence at the host institution, they should be budgeting about $5,000 per semester. That would be their room and board, so their meals and accommodations.
While they're abroad.
So
Okay.
very comparable to here at Trent University. So if when they're living in residence, students are probably budgeting anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000 a year.
Okay, all right. And then another question here, is a summer abroad program more beneficial than one during the school year? So I guess kind of comparing those two.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I always say to students, if you're going to go study abroad, go for a year.
Don't make them go home.
That's
right.
right. Because I find a lot of students who only have room maybe to only go for a term or for a summer. They don't have enough academic time. Maybe they started late, or maybe the program is too tight, like the social work program that I was mentioning.
Gotcha.
But if you can academically fit in a year, I would recommend. And when they come back, I always say, so how was your experience? Because we do our debrief and we have one-on-ones, and they'll say, 99.9% of the time, it was excellent. And I'll say, but what would you have changed? And they would say, I would have gone for a year.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get there and get settled in and getting comfortable and making friends, if you're only going for one term, it goes by so fast. And then all of a sudden you have to come back.
For sure.
But we understand that a lot of students can't academically fit it in more than a summer or a term. So then that's when we look at quality programs. They may want to only go for the summer to take a summer course. So then we look at partners where they're going to get the real bang for the buck.
Right.
There's program involved with the academics, there's field programs, and it's just like a one-stop shopping.
Okay.
And you get your academics, but also while you're there, they're going to put in field trips.
Mhm.
So you're not wasting your time trying to figure it all out. You're buying the package
Right.
to make it more comprehensive.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so next question here we have looks like it's from Jessica. Let's see. First few minutes of the webinar, which is totally
no
fine.
problem.
So she's just curious, how do the fees work? So kind of just breaking out the different fee structure there.
So if a student is going on a bilateral exchange agreement, so going to a university where we have a partnership with, students will pay their normal Trent tuition and Trent ancillary fees to Trent University. And once they get to the host institution, your tuition fees are waived. Then students are responsible to pay for their accommodation at the host institution. And like I said earlier, students should be budgeting about $5,000 per semester. That would include their accommodation and their food.
Right.
The additional expenses students have to be aware of is your flight. So depending on where you're going, they can range anywhere from $500 to $2,500 if you're going to Australia.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll have your insurance, your health and travel insurance.
Okay.
You need a budget for that, but also immigration documents. Because depending on where you're going and how long you're going for, and your citizenship will determine, do you need to have an entry visa, a study permit, and all of that costs money.
Oh, okay.
So students should be researching, okay, if I'm a Canadian, can I go to Australia with just on my passport?
Right.
Or do I need an entry visa? And how much is that going to cost me? And then the basic question is, do I even have a valid passport? I mean, it surprises me that so many people do not have a passport.
Oh, okay.
Even we have students scrambling right now. They're busy trying to get their passports because they
Really?
they haven't applied yet. So my first thing is, get a passport.
Yeah.
Get whatever citizenship you are, get your passport, get that valid,
Mhm.
and get the 10-year passport if you can. And then let's check one thing done.
Right.
So students who come to Trent in their first year, they're going to probably between tuition, spending money, and accommodations, spend anywhere between $18,000 to $20,000. I think that's a fair assessment for a domestic student to spend in their first year at Trent University.
Yep.
And I always say to students, budget that plus add $5,000. And that $5,000 would be all the extra fees that what I would just refer to.
Right. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Jessica's also mentioning here that she had a friend who went to Japan last year through a program at Trent.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that it was at times difficult to get support when she arrived in the country. So she's just curious what supports and contacts are in place within the countries.
It's huge.
Mhm.
We do have a lot of students concerned about how fast I'm going to get information
Mhm.
and how fast I'm going to get the support. And that's, once again, all the pre-planning. Students really need to do as much pre-planning as possible to get everything organized, get the finances organized, get your academics organized. Talk to students who join our ambassador program to be able to talk to students who have been there, done it, to find out what their hurdles are, but also to start establishing a relationship with the study abroad advisor at the host institution. But then also we have to remember, not every country operates in the same administration process as your home country.
That's true. Yep.
Students are comfortable with what they're used to. They know the language, they know the terminology, they have the supports in place. So then they may be going to a country where English is not their first language, or the administration may be very different to what they're used to.
Yeah.
The office may be closed every afternoon from 1 to 4. You may not be able to see your faculty. You may only be in classes where your faculty is a person that is up front teaching, but you don't have the same relationship like we do here at Trent.
Right. Like no office times.
That's
or
right.
things like
So
that.
it can be very different from what you're experiencing here at Trent. But that's probably a good thing, because then you're being exposed to a whole new way of learning something. But once again, that's when the more you know and the more you're prepared, the less of issues you're going to have while you're abroad.
Yeah, there will be less likelihood for surprises.
That's
to pop
right.
up.
And I always say to students, have as least expectations as possible. Because then if you just go knowing that I've put all my ducks in order, I know exactly, I have all my insurance in place, I have my academics in place, I'm going to really be open to new experiences.
Definitely.
I find students have a better experience.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that whole idea, like, I know this is something that I always kind of say to myself before I go anywhere, is that, sometimes there's going to be things that just go wrong, and you have to
Definitely.
be willing to kind of go with the flow and be adaptable. And I think that's probably a big thing about studying abroad.
Things are going to go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Students, anybody who travels, but you should expect that, yes, things are going to be to go wrong, but then you have to be prepared, like you said. You have to make sure that, okay, if things do go wrong, how am I going to handle it?
Right.
If I'm going to be faced with challenges, who can I call on for support? Because you're not going to have the same support systems while you're abroad.
Exactly.
And especially if it's 2:00 in the morning, it may be daytime where you are, but 2:00 in the morning Canadian time, and you might not have the resources of Trent University, like myself, or your parents.
Definitely.
It can be pretty challenging. So those are the things that we talk about with students to be able to be prepared. I find the students that have a lot of issues while they're going abroad, they haven't done a lot of planning. And so that's why we've developed our study abroad Blackboard course to help mitigate those concerns, and also our ambassador program where we match students who either have gone to those institutions or hear from those institutions. Those are a great resource, especially if a student is here studying from one of our partner universities and we match them up with a potential student, and then our student goes there, they already have a friend because they've returned back to that institution.
Right.
That makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay, next question here is from Alyssa, and she's just curious, what study abroad opportunities are available for archaeology? And what year would I be able to start?
Oh, archaeology, that's awesome. We have a really cool program. And is this Alyssa? That's
Alyssa, yeah.
Alyssa.
Yeah.
Oh, Alyssa, you can go to a really unique place. It's called the University of Highlands and Islands. Their campus in Orkney has an amazing archaeology anthropology program. And it's right on the coast, Scotland, get hands-on field experience, an amazing opportunity. Students normally go in their third year of a fourth-year degree, take all your foundation courses here at Trent, and then save your electives of your archaeology and anthropology while you're abroad. Also, our anthropology students can go to Belize. We have an amazing program with Galen University, but a student could go ahead of time and go with Professor Helen Haynes to do the 6-week dig in Belize with Helen, stay, and then start in September at Galen University, continue on studying. Or they can tack it on at the end of their year. So then they get a mix of theory and practical placement while they're abroad.
Wow.
Yes, and we have many of our anthropology, archaeology students going out on field expeditions this summer. They're going, we have students going to Ireland, Poland, the UK, one student's going to Italy. Pretty amazing, and we have 10 students going to Belize this summer.
Oh, excellent.
So lots of opportunities for our archaeology and our anthropology majors.
And are there any other similar field courses that are like the one in Belize that are tied to the archaeology program? Or is it just strictly the Belize one?
Just the Trent-owned program is the one for Belize.
Oh, okay, okay, perfect.
Now, Professor Ronnie Fitzsimmons, he's taken in the past students to Greece to do an archaeology day.
Okay.
And he's not going this summer, he usually goes every other year, but he has some future plans of where he's going to be going. So he's a professor to search out if you're an archaeology major to find out where his next expedition is.
Yeah, definitely want to befriend him in your first year.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question here, Sydney's just asking, I was curious if a study abroad is available for students doing the RN program at George Brown College with their compressed program.
Yes. Compressed program is very tricky.
Okay.
Because they're doing that over 2.5 years, 3 years, as opposed to 4, and they're going 12 months a year.
Right.
So that is a very tight program. The only thing that I would say that would be an option for a student in the compressed program is going on the Friends of Honduras program. And that would be they should be getting with the nursing department, their placement advisor right away, because I think the fall's already full.
Okay.
So they would have to apply as soon as possible to get on the wait list for their year 2 or year 3.
Okay.
So that would probably be the only thing that would be an option for the compressed students in the nursing program, unless they do their alt-practicum, their last practicum placement abroad.
Okay.
That is doable, but it takes a lot of work to get it organized. But once again, between the nursing department and our office and their contacts, we'll try to make it happen for them.
Okay, perfect. Karina has a question here. She's just wondering, are you able to do study abroad more than once?
Yes, you can. I really like to see students be able, after year 1, to be able to do something in the summertime to get them going. Maybe they might want to take a French course abroad, or they might be able to go on the biology, going to Taiwan to study the pink dolphin.
Oh, yeah.
Go for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be really cool.
And then in your second year, you may want to do a term abroad. And then in your third year, do a full year abroad. So
stepping stones.
you can do all these little stepping stones of being able to go abroad. And then we also have students that are in their 4th year that have done all their foundation courses in year 1, 2, and 3. And then in the 4th year decide, okay, in my 4th year, I want to study abroad. I'm going to finish my degree abroad because I have the support of my department, because I've completed all my requirements. But once I'm done studying abroad, I'm going to travel for a year. Now, the downside of that is they miss convocation. So their parents might not like that. But we have a number of students that do that option every year. It's basically coming back to customizing the program for the students' needs. We really sit down, just like what we're doing right now. I get to know the students to find out, okay, what are your interests? What is your degree? What do you want to do? Okay, what universities would fit that for you?
Right.
And how can we fit that in for you? We have multiple universities where English is not the first language, so that intimidates a lot of students. They'll say, well, how could I possibly go to Japan I don't speak the language. Well, the courses are taught in English. But while you're there, taking spoken and written Japanese is mandatory. But it's at the beginner level.
Yeah.
And you still receive credit for it. You get a modern language second year credit. Our language department has been very wonderful of saying, if you take the language in the country where you're studying, even though if it's a beginner course, we're going to grant you a second year course because you're in the environment where the language is being spoken. So you're being immersed in the culture, so you're getting the benefit both. So we're going to grant you a second year course. So yes, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And then finally, the last question here from Madeline. She's just wondering, is there a good place for someone in forensic science and anthropology joint major?
Yes, definitely. Sorry, I'm excited about that. As a joint major in forensics, we have some really strong partners in the UK. Unfortunately, we only have 3 at this time, and that's Kent University and Nottingham Trent and Northumberland University. Those are our 3 institutions where our forensics majors can go abroad and get their direct equivalents. Because once again, the forensics program is very tight, but the programs are very similar to Trent University. So I always recommend students to take all the required courses here at Trent and then save all their electives plus some of the required courses because they can only do them in 3rd year.
Right.
But then save some of your electives for while you're around and take courses in forensics that you can't get here at Trent, but still receive credits for it. Because some of the programs, universities that we have partnership with, they're about 10 or 15 years older than we are. So their courses are they have more courses added to their curriculum right now than we do. We're still growing. We're still a young forensics program and we're growing every year. But they have some amazing programs that go a little bit more in depth.
Right.
Than where we're at right now.
Yep.
Or you may be able to take courses where we're not offering yet, but still get credit back here at Trent into your forensics program that will really complement your degree. For example, Nottingham Trent, one of their courses that they offer, they rent a storage unit and they mock it as an apartment and then they set it on fire. Then the fire department come in and put it out and then the forensics team has to come in to investigate what the cause of the fire was. Yeah, so they get hands-on experience for forensics analogy. So that's huge. And to receive that hands-on experience, the 3 universities and our forensics majors have top priority of those universities. So if a forensics major and a history major applied to those institutions, we can only send 1 student, it would be the forensics major because we can place our history majors more options for them, whereas our forensics majors, they're limited.
They're very limited, okay.
That's right.
That makes sense. All right, and then looks like we do have one more question here.
Nice.
If there are any more questions, just because we are kind of coming to the end, make sure you get them in right now. But this one is from Norika, and she's asking about social work. Where are we partnered?
Yes, so the social work program is very new to Trent University. So at this time, our social work program students are not able to include a study abroad during the academic year because the program is very controlled of what they need to take from year 1 to year 4.
Yes.
And so until the program is at least in its 8th year, done through 2 cycles, that will be until we start looking at options.
Okay.
So our students who are currently in the social work program, their options are to do a summer abroad.
Okay.
Or if they want to take a leave from the program for 1 year, to maybe do year 1, year 2 at Trent, and then defer their social work program for 1 year and go abroad to take their electives or a term. And then they come back and then continue on. They'll end up with more credits and they're adding another year to their life. But we've had 2 students do that so far.
Oh, really?
Yep, because the study abroad to them was very important and they really want to have that experience, that adding another year to their degree was something that they felt comfortable in doing. And so they just postponed their year 3 for a year.
Okay.
And then went abroad for a year and then came back to pick up their social work.
Excellent. So it's doable.
It is doable. It all again is about how flexible you are. And then the more flexible and the more better prepared you are, the more options you have.
There we go. Easy as that. Okay, and it did look like we had another question come
This
in.
is exciting.
I know,
We've
I
had
know.
lots of my
Yeah.
questions tonight.
Yeah, it's good, it's good. It looks like this gentleman is from, interested in going into biochemistry, and then just
Good.
wondering what countries and universities we have partners with for that degree.
Tons. Any partner in the UK, Lancaster, Leeds University have strong science programs. Our partners in Australia, and we've just signed a new agreement with Austria that has an amazing science program, the University of Graz. And we're sending 3 students this year in September. So I'm really excited about that.
Wow.
So as a biochemistry major, yes, you can study abroad. You can fit it in.
Mhm.
Once again, pre-plan, do your required courses to get organized. Because and in some programs, you might even have to take a couple of summer courses to keep you on track. Just to make sure that you're getting all those required courses in time.
Definitely.
But yes, it is doable for a biochemistry major.
That's great to hear. Okay, well, it looks like that's all the questions that we have for
Yep,
today.
well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
That was
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, that was really great. It's nice to see so much interest
Mhm.
from the audience, and thank you so much for all the
Oh.
information that you provided us tonight, Kate.
You're
That was-
very
that was
welcome.
excellent. If you folks do have any questions in the future, we did provide Kate's information, so you can always reach out to her. If you have any general questions about the university, you can always reach out to our liaison department. We have our email address, discovertrent@trentu.ca, or you can also phone us, 1-888-739-8885. If you wanted to preview this webinar at a later time, it will be posted on Trent's YouTube webpage. So with that, I want to thank everybody for attending the webinar tonight. Best of luck on the last couple of months of grade 12 or whatever
Yes.
academics you're finishing up. And we hope to see you here in the fall.
Yes, we're looking forward to seeing you in September, and thank you once again for hosting this event.
Not
This
a
is
problem.
nice. Thank you.
Anytime. Good night, everybody.
Good night.